Welcome to the Enigma Daily, everybody, our Thursday edition. And to keep pace with our schedule, today we're going to be talking about something that's fairly interesting to me. It's about ancient civilizations and how our history is basically being lied to about everything we've been talked about. And today we're going to be talking about something that's coming out of Peru right now. It's talking about they are allegedly rediscovering or re-releasing ancient giant skeletons near Cusco. And if you follow this channel at all, or my main channel, you know that I talk about the giants, the Nephilim, how they tried to erase our history, but everything seems to be coming back to light. So let's get into this. Bring up the browser. Here's the article: Giants of Peru, Conquistadors' Eyewitness Accounts and the Mystery of the Ancient Skeletons. This link will be in the description of the video. You can go take a look at it right there. That's a Nephilim being, giants. But it's a really good article, and I highly recommend you go and check it out. But I broke down the highlights for you real quick, and we can talk about it as we get going here. Let me give you some historical data about this. Number one, this isn't a new story. These giants have been discovered all over the earth since the 1900s, the 1930s, believe it or not. The earliest reporting of giants in the Cusco region was 1930, began surfacing of what they called oversized skeletal remains near and along the Andean mountain range, right? And a lot of people went down there to check it out, but this isn't just a phenomenon to Central and South America. You have the North American mound builders as well. All Native American lore up here talks about a race of giants they battled. The Native Americans have an oral tradition of passing down stories, and they have a time frame that they mark the history. One of the time frames is they call the time before horses. There was a time when there was no horses in Central, South, or North America. They didn't show up until the conquistadors showed up. And if you go look at any Native American lore in the North Americas, when they reference something, a time before the horses, it's always related to giants and how they did battle with them, right? And some of these femurs were found to be 6 feet to 7 feet long. That's as long as a human. The femur, the leg bone, the thigh bone alone was 6 feet tall, right? And in 1936, a field note from a Peruvian archaeologist, let me get his name right, Julio Tello, references what he called the abnormally large skeletal formations of non-typical human morphology. And then after that, of course, this guy just falls off the radar. No one hears from him. And they just go about their business burying it. 1930 was the same time they also started studying the Wisconsin burial mounds. And that's when you'll start seeing around the same time they were finding strange things in the Grand Canyon. And that's when you'll start seeing your first appearances of basically the Men in Black, which are or Smithsonian Freemasons that go around and shut this information down because it proves the Bible, and they can't have that, right? It proves Genesis. It proves the book of Enoch as well. Now, a century later, this is 2025. This stuff is all coming back to light, right? And the most current things that have been brought into light is not only that these giant bones are real and that they are being, rediscovered and people are talking about them again and the proof. It's also they're finding documents from the government and the Catholic Church ordering them to be reburied, to bury them back, right, to hidden. The Smithsonian has on several occasions admitted to losing or misplacing these giant relics or anything related to giant relics. That is not a coincidence. That's done on purpose, right? And in fact, Trump just signed an executive order last month ordering them to release all this information. So we'll see how that goes if it comes around to do it. Also, Magellan was doing his lap around Central and South America, around Argentina. He reported to seeing giants, literally himself, capturing one and trying to take it back to Spain, but it died along the way, and they had to, basically push it overboard because it started to smell bad. So this is also not just a Peruvian mystery. It's a global situation. You got from Nazca to Paracas, the North American mound builders. They all talk about a race of giants. The Bible talks about a race of giants. It's the reason why the flood came. It talks about the Nephilim. It talks about the watchers who came down. If you're not into religion, you should get into it, even if it's from a historical standpoint, but Jesus will save your life. Also, you need to look into, if you don't want to believe that, and you want to go the Sumerian, tablets, the Sumerian giant, the Sumerian that came down, Enlil, Enki, the Watchers, they were all 10, 15, 12 feet tall as well. Now, mainstream archaeology, shocker, rejects all this. They say it's not real, couldn't be true. There's a logical explanation. But that's why it's more proof to the facts that we've been lied to about every single thing in our whole entire lives about history. And that's also a reason why people think we're in what's called Satan's short season as well. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of the world is waking up. A lot of things are starting to happen, right? Now, also, they claim that the field notes from 1936 were quietly transferred to a private archives in Lima, never digitalized or never released. Some people are speculating that those 1936 field notes are actually what's being released right now. Others think that's been destroyed, but I don't think that's the case. I think that we are in an age of awakening. We are in a time frame of history where knowledge is springing forward. I think with the information age and independent field researchers and podcasts and shows like that, and people having the ability to go down there and see for themselves and speak to the locals and hear their local lores and see the local burial mounds and find these bones themselves, I think that it's all going to come forward. Also, too, a race of giants would also explain how these large mounds, these large, Temple of the Sun, all these giant pyramids, which can be found all over the world, from Alaska to Antarctica to Egypt to North America to Georgia, Mississippi, you name it, all over the, Amazon jungle as well. It explains them. A global civilization creating a global civilization. Now, I have a theory that I have myself, is that before the flood, Pangea was then. And so the reason why we find all these pyramids is because it was one giant landmass, and the flood was so devastating that it ripped the continents apart. Because the Bible does talk about the flood waters coming out of the earth. And when that amount of water shoots forward, it rips apart tectonic plates and moves things around that way. So, giants are back on the menu for 2025, as long as also Atlas 10 or whatever, this giant starship that's supposedly heading towards us, that'll be here in November. And the knowledge is starting to pour forward. I'm a firm believer in that. Now, if you have ever heard stories of giants or forbidden archaeology, or been to Peru or been to these areas, I want to know about it. So please leave that in the comments below. Also, this is a brand new channel. We are the sister channel of the Ancient Enigma Files. If you want to enjoy our long form content, our deep dives, our guests, go back to the landing page, click on that link, go over there, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, check it out. However, on this channel, if you could help us out, doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out immensely. Please give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. Also, it's okay to give us a thumbs down. Just please tell us what you didn't like, what we can do better, how we can improve the show. The format over here is 8, 10 to 15 minute lives. We go live Monday through Friday, every day at noon, bringing you the current topics that are going on. We don't do any deep dives on anything that's going on in the past or anything like that. Current, most up-to-date, strange things happening, from conspiracies, UFOs, lost archaeology, biblical facts, all of it. That's what we talk about here. So, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.